this isn't our first motivational seminar, and you've done better than most. You're absolutely superb.
Thank you.
The problem with motivational seminars is that you leave all excited, and 24 hours later, you forget everything you did and were pledging to do. And it's the January 1st gym syndrome. How do you keep the motivation going? Or how do you reach that point where you say, I'm not going back?
Yeah.
Alan's airtight doors and your point of no return. How do you trick your mind or do a mind game that says, never more?
Yeah, well, and that's a great question. It could be that you need one of those three scenarios. You need full acceptance for where you are, or if that's not the case, then don't even go there. You could have that self-induced life crisis where you make a decision and that's just it. Like, that's what got me out of the hospital, right? Or you could, what I see so often is, it's the, well, I should, but I'm not. I should, but I'm not. I should, but I'm not. And all of a sudden, bam, there's the news. Oh, now you're ready. So these crises come along and they are the greatest catalyst to change. You may unfortunately be the type that needs a crisis. And because what's gonna, yeah, and I'm saying it because I see it all the time. When the motivation isn't strong enough, something will come along that gets you to move.
So what do you want to change?
Yeah, and then we'll go there. Right. Go ahead, what do you want to change? Let's just do it. Yeah. Not so, but let's say whatever it is, whether it's a belief, whether it's a nutrition habit, fitness habit, pick one. You know, I have this thing, I call it the one more principle. And it's, take a look at, because sometimes we're like, I don't want to pick one, I want all of them. So, okay, so look at it like this. What would happen if in every single area I mentioned, I talked about stress, I talked about mindset, I talked about relationships a little bit, I talked about, nutrition and fitness and sleep and whatever. What if you just put in one more into whatever that area is? So what if when you're speaking to your kids, you were 1 more minute totally focused and present? What if you put 1 more minute on the treadmill? What if you did? So one more is a way to do it. What works for me personally is I look at it like this. Every single decision you make, no matter what the topic, can only bring you one of two ways: further or closer to the body, health, life, lifestyle you want, right? So what if you do no more from this moment on? Then consider your decisions, whether it's a food choice, whether it's to make that phone call, whatever it is, to bring you closer to what you want. We look at it and think it's these quantum leaps that make the change. No, it's not. It's those daily, seemingly small and insignificant things we do over time that has huge results. Like, let's say, I'm traveling all the time, and let's say someone else is traveling all the time. I'm traveling all the time, I'm packing my bars and I'm eating them, I'm doing my workouts in the room, and someone else looks at it as an opportunity to give up their workouts and eat whatever's around. Over time, there's gonna be a big difference, you see? So even if you do the further, closer, would that help you? Yeah. Yeah.
We offered our physicians, they were dying of stress, and so we offered them an 8-week mindful meditation class.
Okay, John Cabot's in?
They're wonderful. John Cabot's in. Okay. By about week number 3, they started whining about doing it, and I was not teaching it, I taught the range. And the instructor, who was a pediatrician, said, you guys look at it this way. You don't have to like it. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
And it was a reframe for me, because what I heard him say that I think a lot of us fall into is I have to feel motivated and feel good and emotionally connected to doing this. I don't like going to the gym.
Yeah.
I just have to do it.
Well, you know what simplifies the whole thing? Here's the thing. You may never like going to the gym, and that's okay. And if we wait for it, it'll never happen. So what I've found is what really helps is just make it a habit. Yeah. A habit you don't think about. Do you love brushing your teeth? But you do it, hopefully, right? So when it's a habit, you don't think about it. And once it's at the point where it's a habit, you feel weird when you don't do it. All you need to do is get to the point where you feel weird whether you don't do it, if you don't do it. Like whether that's eating well, whether that's exercising, whether that's a morning practice, whatever it is for you. Meditation, yoga, journaling, I don't know. But whatever makes you, is a habit for you, that's moving you towards what you want, that's all you need. Enough that you feel weird when you don't do it.
Just a specific question on exercise.
Yeah, sure.
No problem with cardio because I enjoy lots of different things, but on the thing about like strength training or weight training, I find that pretty boring and don't want to do anything. Is the daily burning, is that like is there a weights thing
There are,
That you don't have to go to the gym.
yeah, there are so many different programs there, and you just find the one that you like. I mean, they have daily programs, they have set programs, and it's based on your fitness level, based on how many minutes you want to work out, and based on if you don't like the trainer. You know, I mean, you just choose the program that you like. Like when it comes to fitness for me, I don't want to think. I just want to do something that's going to be hard and that's short, and I can walk away saying, sweating, and I'm good. So find what works for you. You have a fitness personality. Just as you have a regular personality, you have a fitness personality too. So one that resonates with your fitness personality.
Right, with that particular app that you were talking about, I wouldn't have that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's great. If there's a particular DVD or something that you like, or Beachbody is another company that where you can stream their stuff too. But I just found we can, exercise is one of those things we can make so many excuses. We really can. And I'm the master of it. I have look, here I'm running a business, just wrote a book, I'm in a PhD program, I have all these kids, all these dogs. I could have a wonderful amount of excuses, but I don't feel good when I don't do it. So whatever's going to get the job done. Yeah.
So how does that program differ from like 7-minute workout? That's what I tend to use.
Yeah, I haven't looked at I don't really know what, I've heard of it.
It's like there are 30-second calisthenics, and there's 14 of them.
Yeah, it could be great. I don't know it enough to say.
When you're using it, is it more?
It depends. There are many different trainers and programs within the Daily Burn. So that's one, I don't know if that's just one trainer, one set of circumstances. I don't know it enough to say, but bottom line, if you're not seeing results, if it's not hard, if you're not sweating, it's not good. Yeah, then that's great. We used to think it's those long drawn out cardio sessions that are really working for us, and now we know interval training, high intensity burst training is doing 10 times more in a fraction of the time. But a big thing with that too is interval. Yeah. Those we used to think those long cardio runs or walks or whatever were really doing much for us. But here's the thing too, we talked about cortisol, the stress hormone. If your cortisol level is so depleted from chronic stress and you're in a state of, let's say, adrenal fatigue where, you have just been shooting off, telling your body it's under stress all the time, those long cardio programs are one of the worst things you could do. Because now your body's saying, like, I'm so taxed and you're putting me through this too. Where actually burst training, interval training doesn't do that for you. It really depends on, it's never one thing, because it depends on where you're at, with so many of the other circumstances in your body and how you, and your mind. If I tell you how mindset is so huge. I had a client, I remember, and she says to me, she came in for weight loss. Just so you know, I'm a slow loser. Like telling me her story, Before I even go there, I'll tell you, be careful of your story. Find out what your story is. I've had clients who have been so committed to their story that they are hanging on to disease, right? Hanging on to obesity, hanging on to a dysfunctional relationship, because who would they be without it, And we think, oh, it's a no-brainer. Of course I want to rid myself of that disease. Of course I want to get the weight off. Of course I want to, whatever it is. But if you haven't figured that out, no way, it's not going anywhere. I remember seeing somebody, and she said, this was another person for weight loss, and she's like, Debbie, I have seen every nutritionist, every dietitian, everybody. And I don't know what it is, but I, lose 30 pounds 30 times, and I keep gaining it back. And I know, sure, I'll look at food, but I know about all the other issues. And we started talking about her relationships. And I said, well, what goes on, when you start feeling really good? Deer in the headlights. She's like, oh my God. My partner gets threatened, jealous, uncomfortable. So in order to not rock the boat, she puts the weight back on, right? We do stuff like this all the time. And if we don't, I had another client who, same thing, weight wasn't budging. And I know when, someone's, when they're fooling around with their food and stuff, she wasn't. And so I knew this is the mind at work, this is stress at work right here. And she was hanging on to that weight for dear life, because if the weight came off, she'd be forced to face the fact that she's no longer in love with her husband. That's a big one. So the body is so brilliant, the mind is so brilliant, it's like, we can't take that chance. We won't go there for dear life. And stress alone. I've seen this too, where I had a group program running. A woman everybody loses, I don't know, 2 to 5 pounds the first week, men more, steady 2 after that, right? And she wasn't losing like the rest. And then she said, Debbie, you know what, I have to stop for a while. So she stopped for a month. I call her a month later, and I'm like, how's it go? She said, it's all this stuff going on with my husband. A month later, I'm like, how you doing? And she sounded really good. I'm like, you sound really good. What's going on? She goes, first of all, everything worked out with my husband. She goes, but the weirdest thing, I didn't change my eating 1 iota. I dropped 7 pounds this month. That's stress. You know, when everything's going well, food, energy, calories, all the same thing. Everything gets digested, does what it needs to do. When the body's under stress, it's as if your body says, oh, you're under stress. Okay, no worries. I'm just going to park myself right here, right? You notice a little bit of a gut when you're under stress. And when you need me, I'm right here. You go about your business. Same thing. But the body's between stress and between mindset. I have seen people, hang on to wait for dear life. Lack of sleep too. Another woman could not get the last 10 pounds off. She was sleeping 4 hours a night. We start working on the sleep, there go the last 10 pounds. Yeah. But more than that, it's what I've seen is when the mindset changes, the body heals. They are so intricately connected, you cannot separate them. What other questions? Yeah.
I just second that. I work with the emotions behind that. And every time I see people coming with stress,
Yeah.
we go through the emotion and find what is behind that. And when you find what's behind that, the healing is like this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so amazing to see. And it doesn't matter the stress or depression or whatever. And sometimes just take one session. I guess 2-hour sessions.
Yeah.
But when you go through the emotion, you see that exactly. You can change your mindset, your whole.
And that healing can be almost instantaneous because you're think about it. When we're hanging on to sometimes decades worth of beliefs that don't serve us, it lodges into your muscles, your joints, everywhere. A lack of oxygen gets to the muscles. That's what creates pain, right?
I see clients when I work with that kind of thing, 1 to 5 times.
Yeah.
And like it changes everything.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you see it in their face too. If stress creates accelerated aging too. So a lot of times someone will take care of something having to do with stress, and you're like, wow, you look really good. What'd you do? That's what it was. Yeah.
My mother was a stressed person all her life. She had Alzheimer's. She didn't have a wrinkle on her face.
Yeah.
It was amazing to me that, who wants Alzheimer's? But the fact that she wasn't worrying about anything anymore.
Yeah.
Not a wrinkle on her face.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. It's so true. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Your body's a billboard telling the world how you're handling your stress. Healthy internally, it'll radiate externally.
How do you convince a partner of that?
Convincing is a tough one. I'm a big believer in educating. Yeah, because this way it's not adversarial. Well, here's an example. How many times I've seen a partner who, they're like, Debbie, I don't get it. Here I am. I remember seeing a guy, and he lost 40 pounds in 9 weeks. Well, it was the first thing. He walks into my office, and he says, if you tell me I can't drink, I'm not even sitting down. I'm like, you could drink, have a seat. But he started losing a tremendous amount of weight very quickly, and all of a sudden his wife started bringing in like the donuts and bringing in the sabotage, right? Because there was a tremendous amount of fear. So it's almost like, that fear is going on. But what happens if the person who wants the change, who is changing, feels good about it, says,
No, I was asking a different question.
oh, okay, I'm sorry.
What if my partner is, it's really the story that somebody just told me. She just is always stressed out.
Yeah.
You can really see it on her.
Yeah,
So, and if I bring that up, that causes more stress.
yeah. It's a tough one. It just is. But there's something about maybe she should go for the stress testing, and a lot of people do it. I mean, maybe there's somebody in your area who does it. And it's a simple test that shows you exactly what your stress is doing to your immune system, to your gut. But it's very hard coming from you. You're too close. It is. It's just a hard one. Yeah, I wish I had an answer for that. Sorry.
Could the both of you go for a stress test?
Or-
It's how I got my husband to do something. It's
She's
like,
your
will you go
leader.
with me because I need to do this? And he's like, well, you can do it. I'm like, no, I'm not totally scared. But what I really wanted was for him to go.
Or maybe,
He did.
yeah, or maybe if there's just some kind of, what I find also with something like that is some kind of, like a practice she could do. Maybe she needs to journal. Maybe she needs to, just write some of that stuff down. And you'd be amazed at what shows up. I mean, some people are great with meditating, but if you have if you're stressed, there's so much going on there, there's too much chatter and it's too hard. There's something about the physical act of journaling that just allows stuff from the subconscious to just come up. And a lot of people do it almost as a conversation, where it's you and you're speaking to whoever you feel like speaking to, and you start asking a question, and I do this with clients, and they're blown away. They had no idea they were feeling those things, but you can't change what you're not aware of. So if she has if she is so filled with this chronic unmanaged stress that she has no idea where it's coming from, we can have 1,000 thoughts coming from one emotion. So what's the emotion that's driving it? Well, you know what? Then there's a benefit to it. There is a benefit to it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's her place of excellence.
But you know what? But some people do. They are very comfortable in that space, and there's a benefit to it. And you'd say, well, what could possibly be the benefit of that? But there's something. There could be something there. But if there's still a benefit from it, she's not seeing the bigger benefit of letting that go. Here's where, at the root of all this very often, it's forgiveness. I've seen it so many times. Forgiving ourselves, forgiving of others. This is, yeah, that's at the root of it so often. Because, we think, what's that thing? It's like we drink the poison and hope the other person dies. We're just punishing ourselves. And we hear that forgiveness is it's about us, and it's true. The problem, what I see, why is forgiveness so hard? It's because it speaks a language that the logical, rational mind doesn't understand, right? When someone did something that was cruel or mean or wrong, right? The logical, rational mind says, "But that was so wrong. How could I make something so wrong be okay? Am I making it okay? Am I setting myself up for it to happen again? Am I somehow making it right? Am I showing that I'm not some tough guy, right?" So we have all of the logical, rational mind says, "No way, right?" But then there's the other part of us that says, that's the only way we're free. I mean, we can sit in this prison of self-righteous resentment, but what's that doing for us? It's holding us back from every aspect of life we want, I've seen this with self-forgiveness too. We do something that we're not proud of or we're really upset, and then we feel guilty, and that guilt we take with us into every area of life. It shows up in our relationships. It shows up in what we do for a living. It shows up in how much we feel we deserve. But think about it. If you forgive yourself, and because of it, you make right with whatever you did and try to do something positive, now at least you're doing something positive. Like my dissertation is on betrayal, trauma, and post-traumatic growth. Most of our trauma comes from the ones that really hit us hard. It's from our relationships. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a partner. It could be from, a partner, or from our families, or from friends, from that mean kid in high school who did that stupid thing, right? But how can it not just jam us up, not just create resilience where we bounce back, but how can it create growth, right? We set ourselves up for that growth through that trauma. So I don't know, maybe it's something to look at. I have a couple great resources for you for forgiveness. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
You touched on work-life balance a bit early in your talk. I mean, what does it look like now? Like you said before, you sort of compartmentalize, okay,
Yeah.
work, and then I'm going to play. And now it doesn't look like that. So if you don't sort of set boundaries between your work and your life,
Yeah.
how do you could be working all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
So how do you, so how does it work for you? How do you do it?
Unfortunately, what I typically do is I do something until I crash. and that's why I became a functional diagnostic nutritionist, testing people for stress-related disorders, because I kept getting them. Now I know I don't have to push myself to those limits. Everything will still be there. I can be busy 24/7, but it's a life I'm after, you know? And I'm careful about my regrets. Regrets suck. You know, they just do. So you pick and choose your regrets. Like I could be doing so much more for my business, but I still want to be home when I can for my family. As they get older, my business grows and changes. You know, I have 2 in college, but 2 are still home. So as they grow, I'll do more and more. Balance is tough. It's really tough. But you try to, what can you do to create the biggest impact in the areas you're in? Like if you were to come to my house, I wouldn't suggest you go into my kids' rooms. They may be pretty messy. I don't care, Where's the impact? I'd rather be having fun with them. All depends.
Because the thing is, for me, like if I don't set boundaries, okay, if I'm gonna work now up here till 4 or 5, and then I'm just gonna, go out every day and, read a book or do something else.
Yeah.
Online. But if I don't set boundaries, I could be working all the time.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, this is why, like, for example, I do have a morning practice, and I also work out, and it's in the morning. Because typically, your time is your own. And I get it very, very early, too. Because as the day progresses, stuff just gets bounced off your list, right? If it's not a priority. But in the morning, it shapes the day. And then at least you've taken care of yourself, so when things come along, you're stronger, better able to handle it. But those boundaries are, we write the script for how people treat us. So those boundaries will get crossed if we let them. And it's when we let them get crossed enough and we realize, why that's not working for us, the message gets louder and louder, until we listen. Does that help? Yeah? Okay. Very good. Yeah. So, yeah, well, thank you, everybody. Thanks so much. Thank you.